What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's week number 2.
Yes, sir.
Week number 2.
Week 2.
2 weeks in a row. We haven't done that in a while.
Yes.
So bring in the energy. Bring in the facts. Again,
We told you we were back.
We are back. And this is sports and stuff.
Yep.
But a lot of sports right now, guys. A lot of sports. Fantasy football, football, and more football.
But before football, shout out to the team on your chest. Playing good baseball. They lost one game and suddenly it's
They lost 2 out of 3 to the Boston. They lost today and they lost.
I didn't know they played. I didn't know they played today.
So let's take that down. But
so
no,
are they back
really well.
a game under now?
They're like, I don't know. I have so right now there'll be a game under, and whatever happens with Minnesota, there'll either be a game and a half or a half game back.
I know we don't talk a lot of baseball.
We will. So. We honestly will. We'll get to playoff time. We'll start talking, but I want to give a huge shout out to all the people out there that have been watching us live.
Yep.
The people that don't watch us live and just want to watch us because you know, it's a random day. Let's watch Matt and Zach talk sports.
For sure.
By the way, again, sports and stuff. We're gonna talk stuff, but just not right now. There's a couple good movies coming out this weekend that we might get into.
See a lot of movies in the next week or so, but the focus today.
Football.
Let's talk some more football.
Foosball.
We got to see our first taste of football on the television since our last show.
Yep.
I didn't watch a lot. We had a busy weekend.
We did.
We were gone all weekend.
We were in St. Louis.
We were in St. Louis, Missouri.
Shout out to Phil Wooble. We're a big listener. Weeble. He's going to yell at me like he always does because I do not pronounce his last name right.
Yeah, but we one of our regular listeners, good friend of ours, Phil, we surprised him. His wife planned a surprise party, and we traveled out there to surprise him for his 30th. And while we were there, we hit up St. Louis, went to a Cards-Pirates game.
Yep.
Budweiser had some adult beverages.
A few.
It was a good time.
I had strawberry lemonade. I don't know what you're talking about, guys. But yeah, we're coming off of a great weekend. We're coming off. It's midweek. It's hump day, man. So let's get into it.
People still do that, right?
Dude,
I don't know.
Hey, all right, from now on, anytime we do a podcast on Wednesday, I expect that.
That's
awesome.
Fair enough.
All right, so we're going to talk fantasy football wide receivers today. So not quite like your money position, but there's still money position in the wide receiver clan. So let's just do top 5 real quick. Just spit it off, Zach. Your top 5 wide receivers in fantasy football.
I think that everybody should, and if you don't, I'm interested to hear who your one is, but I think DeAndre Hopkins has to be one for most people.
Yeah.
But I go Hops at 1, Julio Jones at 2, Devontae Adams at 3, OBJ at 4, Michael Thomas at 5. Understand, again, like I talked about the running backs last week, these are top 5 and fantasy rankings.
Yes.
Not ranking wide receivers in general.
Nope.
This is expectations based off of fantasy points going into this season with a PPR league.
Absolutely. So we're going to have the same. I actually have Hopkins number 1. I have Julio number 2. I have Devontae number 3. I have Michael Thomas number 4. And I have Tyreek Hill number 5.
Okay.
So I'm a little different on some of the ones there. I don't want to put Tyreek Hill as my number 5 fantasy receiver, but personal, you got to put your personal stuff aside when you do fantasy. And there's no denying that he is a top end fantasy wide receiver in this league with that offense and what they're going to be able to do. In my opinion, he's a top 5 guy.
Yeah, I have him at 6, so he's right there. I think that I just like OBJ a little bit with the – now I get it's a new connection. We don't know how that's going to play out. But when Odell is playing at his best, he puts up points.
See, I have OBJ at number 6, and the reason why I have him there is I think I don't understand why people are dogging on like Jarvis Landry and Rashard Higgins. When Rashard Higgins is in, Baker Mayfield finds him. You saw it in the preseason. Although OBJ and Jarvis didn't play, who got the touchdown reception? Higgins.
Yeah.
When Higgins played against in that Baltimore game, had a ton of receptions. They're not going to totally abandon him. There's Nick Chubb there too. Week 8, Kareem Hunt comes in. David Njoku. I think Odell Beckham's going to have a phenomenal year. I think his numbers are not going to be as high because he has more weapons around. They're going to get him the ball. He's still going to get it. That's why I have him at 6. I'm talking about 6 to 4.
No, and I understand that. And but you can say that same thing about Julio Jones.
But here's the thing with Julio. Here's the thing with Julio. They just lost Tevin Coleman, so they're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
They're going to run the ball a little less. And in the passing game, Tevin Coleman took a lot. Now, Ito Smith can come in there, take some of those Tevin Coleman receptions away, and it won't be there. But Julio has been in this offense for a long time.
Yeah.
And they go as Julio goes. Odell has not been there the whole time. And he hasn't even taken one snap in a game situation, not practice-wise, with Baker. So I'm just kind of I'm in a wait and see. But my wait and see is I don't have him at 10. I have him at 6. And there's only 5 guys ahead of him. And I think those 5 guys are top-end guys. And 1 through 6, I think are going to be very close.
Yeah, I agree. I think that your 1 through 6 is – you can go anywhere. I mean, some people might even put Devontae Adams at 1. I think that your 1 through 6 – I think 1 through 3 are a guarantee. Like, those are your top 3. And fantasy-wise. And then I think 4 through 6 fall in somewhere there.
And the new offense and the reason why a lot of people have Devontae number 2, and the reason why I have him number 3. New offensive coach there, new offense, slight tweak to the offensive system. Yep. I know they're going to try to run the ball a little bit more in Green Bay, so just for me, but there's no one else on that roster where you're sitting there going like, oh, yeah, they're going to get the ball more than Devontae Adams because that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you got a bunch of guys that made their debuts last year.
Geronimo
Allison, Marquez Valdez,
Scatling.
It's a bunch of unknowns that had okay years last year.
They'd have a week, a blip, and then they go back down. Yeah. So you just don't know for sure what's going to happen in Green Bay.
Michael Thomas, actually, I mean, big receiver who did big things last year. I'm afraid of Drew Brees potentially having a decline. Yes. It's the same thing with potentially Julian Edelman in New England, is the older quarterbacks having somewhat of a decline, how that means to your top 10
Absolutely.
receivers.
No, I get that with Michael Thomas, but you look across from Michael Thomas.
You have to take him top 5.
It's Kamara and Thomas on that offense.
Yeah,
and
here's
the thing. Drew Brees might be losing a little bit off his deep ball, but Michael Thomas is one of the best short route wide receivers in the NFL. Yeah. So there you go. So 6, I had Odell. I'm going to give you my 6 through 10, and then we'll go that way. So 6, I have OBJ. 7, I have Mike Evans. 8, I have Antonio Brown. 9, I have Keenan Allen, and 10, I have Juju Smith-Schuster.
Okay.
So that's mine. We'll talk into this a little bit because I know there's going to be some questions here. I mean, right there, I know we're going to have some questions there because if the camera can't catch it, that's a Pittsburgh Steelers hat. So you give me your top, your 6 through 10.
So as I said, my 6 is Tyreek Hill. 7, I have Antonio Brown. 8, I have Juju Smith-Schuster. 9, I have Keenan Allen, and 10, I have T.Y. Hilton.
T.Y. to me, whatever. That doesn't matter to me.
You've never really liked T.Y.
I have T.Y. at 11, so let's not say that. Mike Evans to me, I think is something that we have a little bit of a contention with, and reason why that I like Mike Evans. I have him at 7. Jameis Winston is a really good deep ball thrower. Bruce Arians, when he is in control of an offense, likes to get the ball downfield. Mm-hmm. I know Chris Godwin, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. And Chris Godwin's there. But they're not – here's the thing. The bread is buttered. I'll say that a lot of times. I don't know why. You know why? Because there's food downstairs waiting for me. So the bread is buttering. Okay. No, but when it comes to that team, Mike Evans is still the guy. He's the red zone guy. They're going to get vertical. I think that Tampa Bay is going to be in a ton of 35, 34 games.
Just like last year.
Yes, but – Jameis Winston, I think, is going to I honestly think Jameis Winston's going to take a little step up this year. I agree. Bruce Arians is a guy that's gotten in there. He did this with Kurt Warner. He did this with Carson Palmer, limiting the turnovers. Those guys, if you look at their track record when they got to Bruce Arians, high turnover guys. Mm-hmm. They got there. They reduced it. Still high, but they reduced it. If he can reduce his turnovers maybe by 1 every 2 games, I think Jameis Winston becomes a better play. That's what we'll talk about in quarterbacks. We'll
talk about that next week.
But I think it directly impacts Mike Evans in the downfield passing game and red zone. And I think Mike Evans could have a 10-touchdown season.
I think the problem is Mike Evans doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. He has.
I think this year changes.
And if you have, again, when you mix some of these guys together, it's an expectation. It's a matter of if you believe it, then hit it up. But again, just like your top 6, and then I think your top 11 are another set that can be mixed any way you want to put them.
I will say this with Mike Evans. I look at Mike Evans as a poor man's Larry Fitzgerald. Bigger guy, not the fastest, and I think he's going to utilize him more in that Larry Fitzgerald role. Now, again, I'm not calling him Larry Fitzgerald, so please do not get that confused. But I do think that he utilizes him more in that Larry Fitzgerald.
That's fair.
And then they have, your John Brown guy, which is I think Godwin could be where it's going to be the vertical passing game.
Well, I think that
or John Brown. I'm trying to think. They had a whole bunch of guys out there that had like John Brown, JJ. Now, like they had in Arizona with Larry Fitzgerald. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
I think one of the things is taking Deshaun Jackson out of the mix. I think Chris Godwin gets his touches and Deshaun's. And I understand some of those are going to go to Mike Evans as well. Then you mix in they two tight ends, right? With O.J. Howard and
yes, a break.
Can they still have Cameron Brate?
Yeah, but if not, here's the thing also. They did lose Humphreys in the free agency, which was Jameis Smith was one of his favorite targets.
That's true.
They're going to slide another guy in there, and there's going to be some guys that come in there and do all that. I do think, though, that Tampa's going to be a good fantasy team offensively for it. And then I guess we're not really that far off on Juju Smith-Schuster. For me, with Juju, I just got to see it. I got to see him as a number one wide receiver. I know there's a couple games like week 17 last year where he was very productive. That was against the Bengals. Or was it the Bengals? Yeah, it was against the Bengals.
Yeah.
I want to see, and they were still playing for Antonio Brown because the reports didn't come out till late that Antonio Brown wasn't playing in that week 17 game. I just need to see him be the number one guy. I like the addition of Dante Moncrief. I think James Washington, which we can talk about later. I talked about him last year, and I was really high on him last year, and he disappointed the heck out of me. But with Juju Smith-Schuster, let me see him as the number one. Let me see him when they're rolling the coverage to him. Because when Antonio Brown's opposite to you, you're going to get a lot of one-on-ones.
Yeah.
I need to see him where he's the man. And that's the only thing that holds me off. Again, top 10 fantasy wide receiver. It's not that much of a hold off for me. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts coming from the Steelers perspective on Juju Smith-Schuster.
I think that if Juju Smith-Schuster wasn't playing with a quarterback that threw for top 5 yardage last year, Juju would probably be down at like 15 for me. But he's playing with Ben, who continues to put up high numbers, and he's the number one guy. Now, I agree with you, and this is going beyond fantasy. This is as being a Steeler fan. There is concern about Juju. Everyone's saying that he has looked lights out in camp. Mm-hmm. He hasn't looked to have any questions, but he's never done it before. And to see him be able to be that number one, I think, and it's something we'll talk about later, is I think he's going to open it up for some other guys. And I think that they did a good thing bringing in Dante Moncrief. I think you're going to see, and it's not somebody that's going to be mentioned here. He'll be mentioned in our AFC North preview. But I think Switzer is going to get a lot of run this year.
Routes,
yeah, I think there are going to be a lot of guys that are going to get a lot of run outside of Juju. But I know I'm getting off track. But with Juju, I think somewhere between 8 and 10 is perfect for him. Just because I think that the upside is there because of the offense he's playing in. But again, we don't know what to expect from number one guy. But I still see him getting 4 or 5 catches a game.
Yeah, you do see it, and that's the thing. I'm concerned about the number of touches. The targets I think will be there. I'm just worried that when you roll that number one guy over there, and you're rolling a safety over top, where you have linebacker underneath help, is he going to get the same yak? Because the big thing with him was yards after catch. Mm-hmm. He was very good at that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they're going to be running these underneath routes, and they might roll the linebackers. Next thing you know, you see Ryan Switzer, James Washington, Dante Moncrief, and that's the only thing that concerns me with Juju Smith-Schuster right now. T.Y. Hilton, I have him at 11, you have him at 10. To me, if Andrew Luck is any near hurt than anything,
let's know
T.Y. Hilton dropped.
Let's note that I've made these rankings 2 days ago. Before these they've been talking about Andrew Luck for the last week, but it just came out yesterday that he's not going to play at all in the preseason, and it's moved to an ankle injury instead of it was like a calf strain. Yeah. And now they're saying that it's also an ankle injury.
And it could be something with the bone.
If Andrew Luck does not start week 1 or T.Y. Hilton does drop for me, he's still the number one guy there, but I don't even know who their backup is. If it's
still Jacoby Brissett?
I have no idea.
Yeah, never know.
But I agree with you there.
I'm usually not the biggest T.Y. Hilton fan. I don't know why. It just, for me, with fantasy football, I think I drafted him 1 year and he just didn't have it, and it throws me off. I have T.Y. Hilton at 11. So give me your 11 through 15.
How can we move on without at least mentioning Mr. I need a new helmet or I need my old helmet AB and what your expectations are? Because if he was still in Pittsburgh, he's number 2 on this list.
Yeah.
But he's not. He hasn't played a game with
Here's
his
the thing.
quarterback.
Antonio Brown, I have him either he could be my number 1 guy or he could be my number 15 guy. So I slotted him somewhere in the middle at 8. I like Mike Evans just a tad bit better because he's a little bit more known commodity right now. See, Antonio Brown, and I'll kind of contradict myself because I like what Oakland's doing. But with Antonio Brown being a little bit of a head case, he has some foot problems, nasty feet. You got some nasty feet. The frostbite.
Yeah.
I don't know where his head's at, but then again, I never know where his head's at. And he goes out there and puts up 100 catches, 1,200 yards, 10 touches, and you're sitting there going like, all right, well, why didn't I draft him higher? I just have a little bit of a pause because Derek Carr to me is a really good quarter. There's just something there that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I've seen him in some preseason fantasy rankings in the 20s. No chance. Yeah. No chance for me. He's still a first round, maybe late first round, second round guy, depending on just where you value him over like Mike Evans or Keenan Allen. You're not going to pick him over OBJ. You're not going to pick him over the top 6. Yeah. So he slots in at 7.
Do you have him before Juju? Who do you have ranked higher?
I have AB at 8 and Juju at 10.
Okay.
So that's, again, I think Antonio Brown's a better receiver.
Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt about that. Pure talent, he is arguably the best receiver in football.
Absolutely.
I take the under no matter what.
Yep.
But
so I kind of, again, we're a sports podcast. We probably should talk about, I'm kind of sick and tired of hearing about Antonio Brown. He's like,
I'm tired of seeing his feet. I swear, every time they talk about him, they got to show his skin. Like I'm tired of seeing that
skin rippled feet. So, so let's go. You got to let's change it up. 11 through 15. Excuse me.
11, as I said, Mike Evans. 12, I'm going with Kent State, Julian Edelman. 13, Adam Thielen. 14, Stephon Diggs. So going Minnesota back to back, and then which. Yes, sir. Right there.
Right here. Let's go. Come on.
And then at 15, somebody that I think I probably have a couple picks high, Kenny Golladay.
Okay. So my 11 is T.Y. Hilton. 12 is Stephon Diggs. 13, Adam Thielen. 14, Amari Cooper. If Zeke's on the team, I'll explain myself in that in a minute. 15, the pride of Kent State, Mr. Julian Edelman. I don't know if you want to see that, but that's autographed. I got a glare right here. I know I got a glare. That's autographed because, we're best friends.
Kent State
represent in the house. But you can go ahead and talk to me about your number. I think it was your number 13 pick. You have Adam Thielen above Stephon Diggs. I have it the other way around. Why? I'm just messing with you.
I mean, because you can't.
That's his rookie card. If you guys want to know, rookie card. It's a Julian Edelman rookie card. I don't know if you guys want to know.
You would think that he actually knows him or something. He definitely doesn't.
They never boys, man.
Definitely doesn't.
But come on, man. We went to Kent State at like the same time.
We did
at the same time. So that means we're best friends.
All right.
No, I was just trying to do a filler so I could talk about his rookie card. So I mean, here's the thing with me. When I wanted to come back to it, Amari Cooper. I don't care about Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. I think they're both. You put them next to each other because they both give you the same exact production.
Thielen just gets more catches.
And I think Diggs gets more touchdowns in the long run of it. So
that's fair.
It doesn't matter. That's why I put them right next to each other, 12,
But
13.
you think they're both top 15 guys?
Yes, I do. I do think they're both top 15 guys. If Zeke's on the team, Amari Cooper is going to have a better year if Zeke's not on the team. I know that makes no sense to many people because you're sitting there going like, well, if Zeke's not there, they're going to throw the ball more. No, that means they're going to roll tons of coverage short of Amari Cooper because then he's the only other playmaker on that team. If Zeke's in there, they run a lot of play-action fakes with Dak. Amari Cooper gets a lot of one-on-one on the outside. I think Amari Cooper could have a huge year if Zeke is playing. You disagree?
Well, I have Amari Cooper at 16, just outside of my top 15.
You were just looking at
I am.
Like,
I'm going to explain why.
Go ahead.
Because if Zeke's there and Dak's there, that means that they paid Zeke and Dak. And guess who's not getting paid? They're not paying all three. Jerry Jones
is not holding out.
I understand that, but he's asking for $40 million.
He's not holding out right now. He's still on the team.
I understand that.
Okay.
I get that. But what I'm saying is Amari Cooper knows going into the season, if they sign Zeke to an extension, Amari's not getting paid. And I think that affects how he plays.
All right. Well, I still think that
he's still a top 20 guy.
I think Amari Cooper is going to have a big year. So T.Y. Hilton, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper, Julian Edelman. Jules he's Mr. Dependable, man. He's Tom Brady's number one guy. He's an underneath guy. He's not going to score a ton of touchdowns for you, but he's going to get you 6 to 8 catches for 45 to 70 yards. You're going to look in that 13 to 18 point range pretty much every week for him. And you can pencil it in.
That's nice. You get somebody getting 6 receptions a game, every other game maybe getting a touchdown.
Yeah.
You're getting 15 points. That's great.
And then then he'll sprinkle in maybe 3 of those games where he goes for like 10 catches for 110 yards, 2 touches.
He's reliable. He's reliable.
And here's the thing. Tom Brady's not throwing a deep ball as well as he used to. But guess what? He throws the ball really well still. These short to intermediate routes. Yeah. What does Julian Edelman do? It's better than almost anybody in the league is run those routes. It is a uncanny thing that these two are going to have.
My only
85-year-old Tom Brady's going to be throwing to 75-year-old Julian Edelman.
My only concern is, and it doesn't change anything, obviously I have higher than you do, is the idea, who is their deep threat? Rookie,
Josh Gordon, N'Keal Henry. It should be a guy that it gets down.
Josh Gordon is not being.
Josh Gordon applied for reinstatement.
0% chance that happens.
But I have a quick question for you. You have Kenny Galladay at 15.
Yeah,
I have him in the 20s.
Okay,
tell me why I'm wrong.
Because he is going to make the leap, in my opinion, as a true number one. I know they still have Marvin Jones. But
Marvin Jones, I think they're going to run the ball more. Matt Patricia's even stated that.
I don't doubt that. But I think Kenny Galladay has top 10 potential talent. And I still think that they got a great quarterback with Matthew Stafford. Yes, I said great quarterback with Matthew Stafford.
Stafford's a great quarterback.
He hasn't accomplished much, but I think it's because he's been on a bad team. It's not his fault.
Dan Marino didn't win a lot of playoff games or win any Super Bowls. Is he a great quarterback?
And you heard me talk about Kerryon Johnson. Yes. I really like Kerryon Johnson. Mm-hmm. I like the 1-2 punch of Kenny Galladay and Kerryon Johnson this year. I just think Kenny Galladay has the size and to be he'll never be Calvin Johnson, but be Calvin Johnson-like.
Thing for me, TJ Hawkinson comes in there, top 10 pick, tight end. Fair. Marvin Jones, they want to run the ball. There's a little bit more options out there than I typically like to put a guy at my top 15.
Okay.
Top 15 guys, although I did say I have Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, and I like Dalvin Cook this year, so I'm kind of – but they're known commodities, though. Kenny Galladay, can he stay healthy? He hasn't proven in the NFL yet he can stay healthy. That's my only pushback on that. I don't think you're wrong in the sense of he has the potential. I just don't see it yet.
Well, here's one of the reasons, and it'll jump. I guess we can jump into, unless there was anybody else you wanted to talk about in that top 15.
No, I think my top 15 is perfect.
Here's one of the reasons I have Kenny Galladay higher. I don't trust Amari Cooper, which is why I have him at 16.
You said that, yep.
And then my 17, 18, 19 are all on the same team. You got balls that have to go around.
Brandon Cooks. Just say it. Let's go. Let's go to
16 Amari Cooper, 17 Brandon Cooks, 18 Robert Woods, 19 Cooper Kupp, 20 AJ Green. So to end my top 15 conversation off of that is you have my 17, 18, 19 all on the same team. Mm-hmm. Do I feel that they belong in the top 20 after what they did last year? Hell yes.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to be able to share as many catches. I think that offense is going to take a step back this year. Not a big step, but a small step. And I think Kenny Galladay gets more looks than any of them because they have to share them.
Gotcha. No, I understand. Again, good reasoning. So my 16 through 20 is a little different than yours. I have Jarvis Landry at 16. Wow. I don't understand why people – and I'm even looking at it right now. Jarvis Landry, you have a 28. Here's the thing.
I had Jarvis Landry disappoint me way too many weeks last year.
Yeah, it wasn't really a disappointment. You just wanted him to score 85 points every week. Here's the thing with Jarvis Landry that people are going to say, well, Odell's there, so he's going to take away this, that, and the other. Jarvis Landry last year had to play out of position. Jarvis Landry was playing outside, running deep routes majority of the time. You're telling me right now you're going to throw Odell over here, right? He's going to run, probably get double teamed every time. I know Rashard Higgins isn't that good, but they're going to run Rashard Higgins on the other side. You got David Njoku, and then you have your pass catchers out there. Jarvis Landry is going to eat like he did in Miami. Just going to eat these drag routes.
I think Odell opens it up for Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry, I think, is going to have a phenomenal fantasy football season. I mean, last year he was going in the top 15 in a lot of people's – there's a lot of people that had him a top 15 wide receiver in fantasy football, being the number one guy. I think that he actually gets better with more talent around him.
Do you think that Baker forces the ball to OBJ because OBJ is an Antonio Brown type that whines if he doesn't get the ball?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Because that was
everything coming out of Odell Beckham right now has been that he is the best teammate that he can be. He has not said one word. He hasn't played a game and hasn't caught any passes for the Cleveland Browns yet, so we don't know what he's going to be like. But everything we're hearing is that he's a different guy. He's not the guy. And he really, all he ever did was call Eli Manning for not being a good quarterback. Which, is he right? Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, I just think Jarvis Landry is going to have a really good year, and I like him over like guys like Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, AJ Green. The only reason I don't like AJ Green because he's hurt. You just don't know what you're getting out of him. And then I have Chris Godwin as my number 20.
Okay.
So my 16, so Jarvis Landry, Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, AJ Green, Chris Godwin. That's my top 20 right there.
Okay.
We've already talked about Godwin. We don't need to elaborate more into it. He's one of those guys that I think is a lot higher. It should be a lot higher on people's boards.
I have Godwin at 21.
There you go. So, I mean, we kind of have that little connection right now.
I have AJ
we talk
Green.
about a guy, and then we're like one off on him. We don't plan this, guys. Heck, I don't want to talk to him about fantasy football because I don't want him stealing all of my stuff.
And don't get me wrong. Jarvis Landry is the one Brown I like. Like, I like Jarvis Landry as a football player. He is the one person that if someone was like, funny, I'm going to get you a Browns jersey, I'd be like, give me a Jarvis Landry jersey, and I will wear it. And I'm not even kidding. I am a huge Steelers fan, but I would rock a Jarvis Landry jersey just because I'm just a huge fan of him and his game.
Gotcha.
I'm just nervous. I'd be a little nervous.
I get you.
I'll tell you this. If you have Jarvis Landry in your top, 16, he's going to be there when you want him. He's going to end up on your fantasy team because no one's taking him that high.
Well, let's see what's going around with that, though.
I'm just telling you.
Let's see what's going around with that. If I go out and get if I get my running backs and I get a guy like Stephon Diggs and Julian Edelman, I don't need to worry about getting Jarvis Landry at that point.
I got you.
I might be able to still Jarvis Landry is my third wide receiver because everyone's so down on him, and I'm going to be just rolling in the bank this year, guys. I'm telling you. 21 through 25.
I just want to mention AJ Green.
Yeah, go ahead.
AJ Green. I don't know. He's so damn talented.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard when they say that he's only supposed to miss 2-3 games and he is as talented as he is. It's hard to not have him in your top 20.
That's why I have him at 19. I don't want to put him at 19, but I'm just not positive. It's the thing is that he's so damn talented. He's injured and his quarterback play is not going to be that good this year.
And the question is when you have someone similar that put up similar stats last year that will get a full season in Tyler Boyd, it's a little questionable how you play that. I just think AJ Green is, and you have him, I think, one higher than I did, right?
I have AJ Green at 19.
I have him at 20. So we both see eye to eye really on him in general.
Here's the thing, and this is why I put AJ Green at 19. And I mean, I could have switched him with Godwin. I don't know if I wanted to put Godwin above AJ Green, but you're going around the other guys. For me, it's Galladay, it's Kupp, it's DJ Moore, it's Mike Williams, Tyler. Like these guys around him, I'm like, oh, is he better than him? Yes. Is he better than him? Do I take a flyer on him?
Yeah.
Because those first couple weeks of a fantasy football season don't win you a fantasy football title. I started off many seasons 0-4, working my roster, and by week 5, that's when I'm starting to win games because my guys are getting back from suspensions or getting back from being injured early. And next thing you know, your roster's super talented. You back into the playoffs, and you beat the 1 seed many times like I've done.
Sometimes I've considered blowing week 1 just to get that top waiver spot for the guys that had like a good first week.
Yeah.
And like Kamara 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. There was somebody last year as well. I can't remember who it was, but maybe Austin Eckler type.
So that's what I'm saying. Like AJ Green's gonna be out 2 to 3 weeks. Can you get guys to patch in there before them and then have a guy super talented as like your third receiver? I mean, AJ Green could be your third receiver on many teams this year. And that's a scary thought if AJ Green plays the potential weeks, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, playoff time. That's a scary roster that you can think about. And it's just like I almost want to treat him like a guy that's been suspended for 3 to 4 games. Like a Golden Tate this year. Have him suspended. Like, hey, I'll have him back there. He'll be on my injured spot right there. Yep. And hopefully, he pops off and he becomes the AJ Green, that's a top 10 fantasy wide receiver most years. So
what was your 20?
My 20 was Goodwin. That was my 20. So I'll go 21 through 25 right now. I have Tyler Boyd at 21. Very close to AJ Green, obviously. I have Kenny Galladay. We talked about 22. I have Cooper Kupp at 23. I have DJ Moore at 24, and I have Mike Williams at 25.
Okay.
So you can go off and read yours, and we can kind of go from there.
21, I have Chris Godwin. 22, I have Tyler Boyd. 23, Mike Williams. 24, Alshon Jeffrey. 25, Tyler Lockett.
Okay, so I have Tyler Lockett 26. So again, we're right there on those. Me, DJ Moore was a really good receiver last year. The only thing that gives me caution with him, Cam Newton.
I also think I'm falling into. So I have DJ Moore 27. I've been falling into the trap of camp talk, and Carolina camp is saying that Curtis Samuel
they love Curtis Samuel.
Game.
They love Curtis Samuel there.
DJ Moore, and DJ Moore is my dude.
Yeah,
like Maryland, huge supporter.
Maryland.
Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore are very similar.
They are. The thing with Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore is more over the top.
Okay.
DJ Moore can play over the top. He can blow the roof off. Curtis Samuel can do the same thing. I think they're gonna use Curtis Samuel more as like a get him in space, make a miss, because he's a running back in college. I think they're gonna try to put him in that slot, make a miss. DJ Moore's an outside guy. DJ Moore's gonna be a blow off the top type of guy. I really like what they have in the options, and then you have Mighty Mouse back there and Christian McCaffrey. The thing with me when it comes to DJ Moore is always going to be Cam Newton. Excuse me, I couldn't think of his name off the top of my head there. If his shoulder is not there, then they're just going to throw the ball downfield. And I got into that trap last year. DJ Moore had 3 or 4 really good weeks. Tried unloading him for a better receiver. Nobody bit that apple. And I got stuck with him because Cam Newton regressed toward the end of the year because of his shoulder. Yeah. Next thing you know, DJ Moore's going from giving you 15 to 25 points to get me 7 to 10 points. Yeah. And I had to move him from my wide receiver 2 to flex position play. So I like Cooper Kupp coming back from injury.
I think Cooper Kupp ends up being – I have him the lowest of the 3 Los Angeles receivers, but I think that he ends up being the top performer.
I think he will be, but you just got to be very cautious with knees.
Yeah.
And especially slot guys that rely on the herky-jerky, get open. I mean, use your hips, use your legs to kind of fake out the underneath routes there or get across. I'm always really concerned about knees. I'm hoping that he comes back stronger than ever because he's an enjoyable player to watch when he's on.
And I'm telling you, this is, if you want to call a sleeper top 25, my big projection from wide receivers is that Mike Williams outperforms Keenan Allen and is a top 10 wide receiver by the end of the season.
Oh, wow.
I think Mike Williams makes that step.
I'm high on Mike Williams. Think of him like what Tyrell Williams was doing last year. Tyrell was getting deep.
But he's also going to do what Mike Williams was doing. It's a Chris Godwin type situation, and I think I both see them as being top 15 receivers. They both have very good guys, top 10 guys,
absolutely,
across the field from them, which should open up more catches
for them. No, I like that.
And
Phillip Rivers. He's getting up there in age. He's the same age as Eli Manning, and people forget that. So you always got to wonder, is this the year he regresses?
Well, why aren't you saying that same thing about Ben?
I thought of it. I just didn't say it because we're not doing quarterbacks today.
Not. That's tomorrow.
The only reason I know that because AFC West is we're going to be previewing them. Good point. So I was trying to lead it in.
I like the way
I was trying to do one of those little fancy lead-ins.
So we're just covering top 25, right?
We'll do 30. We'll just go to 30 because I prepped for it, so might as well just do it. Real quick, 26 Tyler Lockett, only receiver that matters right now in Seattle. I got 27 Alshon Jeffrey, 28 Calvin Ridley. I think he has a chance to step up this year. Give me a full 16 of what he was for about a 4-game span there.
Okay.
Will Fuller, 29. I think Houston's offense is going to be phenomenal. He's their deep threat. When he played, man, did he blow the top off of most defenses. And 30, I have the very dependable but not very, not over the hype when it comes to high points, Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson gets you 6 catches for 45 yards, 6 catches for 65 yards. He'll throw in a touchdown. He'll get you anywhere between 8 to 15 points without a touchdown. He's a guy that didn't really have huge games.
Which is decent flex numbers, which is what we're looking at in this position.
Absolutely. I'm not hating on it.
Yeah.
But
you're moving into your flex position here with these. Once you get out of your top 25, you're talking flex.
So who do you have at 26 through 30?
Allen Robinson, 26.
Allen Robinson, Mr. Dependable.
27, DJ Moore. 28, Jarvis Landry. 29, Sammy.
I like
29, Sammy Watkins.
I like him.
30, D.D. Westbrook. Those are 2 guys that I wanted to talk about real quick.
Go ahead.
If you go back and look at Sammy Watkins' stats last year before he got hurt, Very good.
Very good.
Very good. To be able to put Sammy Watkins at a flex position as your flex one, I guess most leagues are one flex, our leagues two, but I'll take that all day the way he was playing.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's able to open some stuff up. I love Sammy Watkins, and I don't think people talk about him enough.
No.
And then D.D. Westbrook started to play really well last year, and that was with the awful quarterback situation.
We'll get into
but
that.
He is a number one receiver. Who was doing exactly what you said Allen Robinson was doing, but he was doing it consistently late season with a worse quarterback. And I understand that you're not high on Nick Foles. I get that. And I'm not either. I don't think that Jacksonville has a great year. But his only competition is Marquise Lee, who's hurt.
Yes.
Supposed to potentially miss a couple weeks. They don't have a lot of options at receiver.
Yes.
Somebody has to catch the ball
and they're going to throw the ball because they're going to be down.
And he caught the ball last year with a worse quarterback.
Yeah,
I just think D.D. I think he's a solid.
Absolutely, I don't disagree with that. I honestly think that I am the president of the Jacksonville Jaguar hate community. Like I'm the president of that.
Probably right.
Nobody. If we allowed fan mail, I'd probably get a ton of really bad fan mail from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And then just one thing I want to ask you your opinion on. People seem to be incredibly low on Emmanuel Sanders. And I know he had the injury, but, I mean, he's running at like 45, wide receiver 45.
You know why? And then we'll talk about it when we get to the AFC West project. It's Fluco.
That's fair.
It's Fluco.
And let me – if Golden Tate wasn't suspended for 4 weeks, would he be in your top 25?
He would be probably – let me look at it. I would have him probably – I mean, I'd have him at like 21, 22 area. And with the potential of being like a top 15 guy, I love Golden Tate. I don't know if I like Golden Tate on the New York Giants. Because Golden Tate in Detroit, he was my man. I tried to draft him every year.
You did.
It's him and Danny Woodhead. Danny Woodhead is the greatest fantasy football running back in the history of the world.
You loved you some Danny Woodhead.
Oh, gosh. Woodhead! All right, so that's an inside joke with me and my wife. So
any sleepers that we haven't talked about that you
see, for me, a lot of my sleepers, I think, are in the back half of my top 20.
I agree.
I have Mike Williams, I have DJ Moore, I have Calvin Ridley, and I have Will Fuller. I'm really high on those guys, maybe taking that next step in the fantasy realm.
I think take your pick. I think take a chance, choose one, and hope that you chose right.
Yeah.
I think that Dante Moncrief and James Washington, one of them, and I understand that's not great advice.
I like
saying,
James
Washington. Choose one of these guys, but I think that one of them is going to have to step up. I love Dante Moncrief. I think he's finally going to be able to play with a quarterback that he can trust. He had one good year with Andrew Luck.
Yep. And then he went to where wide receivers go to die.
Yeah.
In Jacksonville.
And still had over 600 yards receiving last year. I also like John Brown.
In Buffalo.
Because Buffalo is going to do one of two things. Yep. Quarterback's either going to run the ball or he's throwing a deep ball. There's really no other options there.
Well,
that's what John Brown does best.
They have what's his name? Cole Beasley for those underneath routes. Cole Beasley, he don't sleep on me. Don't sleep on him. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Fantasy football is here. Guys, if you're listening to us not live, if you're listening to us in the future, because I didn't put up last week's episode. We had some technical difficulties with the Facebook Live cutting out. Couldn't get it up. So we'll get this episode up live, not live, but on iTunes, on Spotify, wherever you listen to us there. If you're watching live on Facebook Live right now, I'm saying live. That's all I'm saying. Live.
We do appreciate the few people that have jumped on. We know recording an evening during the week is tough. Usually when we just do it on podcast,
live.
Yeah. It's there.
Yeah.
Check us out later this evening. I know 7:30 is a tough time, but it's what works for us.
Yeah.
And like we talked about last week, even though we're doing this live, you can watch it later on Facebook.
Watch it later.
We're going to start putting it on YouTube.
Well, again, the only reason we didn't put it on YouTube, the only reason we don't have it live that's the reason why we don't have it on like the iTunes on the podcast.
Live action.
The inside jokes. These people are not going to understand it.
It's all right.
But the reason why we didn't put up iTunes, we had the technical difficulty, if you can remember last week, where Facebook Live cut out on us. So I wasn't able to merge those two together, and I didn't want to put out like two different tracks on anything. Yeah. So this will be up live on YouTube, so you can go over there and watch it. This will also be up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, it'll be on there. We appreciate all the support. We have a couple people watching right now. If you have any questions, this whole long thing was too. If you have any questions, put in the comment section below. If not, if you're watching later and you're like, man, I really wish I could have asked him this, where can I ask him a question? Well, you can ask us a question on Facebook, on Twitter, or you can just say, hey, let's watch the next live one and we'll answer the question then. We want to listen to you guys. Go to the Facebook page. Let us know.
And while you're on that Facebook page, on our Twitter page, just posted earlier this evening information that we're doing the Fantasy Football League.
Mm-hmm.
More info to come on what prize, how we're going to play that out. But we're looking for 10 people. Retweet our tweet if you're interested. We're probably going to let people gain interest, talk about it every day. Share it on Facebook. Comment, say that you're interested. Probably going to push this for another week or two, or definitely a week, probably 2, until we choose at random who we're going to have. But we are having our first league this year. We're excited about that.
If you think you're better than us, which you probably are, just let us know. But, we did the research, and it's our podcast, so that's what we're going to talk about. Guys,
so let's jump into the West.
AFC West.
Yeah.
AFC West. So, quickly, you can give me your predictions for the AFC West.
I'm very similar to something, and we'll talk about league overall in 2 weeks, but last year I was really high on this team. I think that they are either like the same team, maybe a tiny bit better. I'm still all over the Chargers as my top in the West. Kansas City at 2, Denver at 3, Oakland at 4. I think Denver's going to improve. I really like the AFC West.
We're disagreeing.
Okay.
So I have the Chiefs, Chargers, Oakland, and Denver. That's what it is. Here's the thing. If I was 100% sure that Melvin Gordon was going to be a Charger week 1, if I was 100% sure he was going to be there, I would have him. I'd be fighting between the Chiefs and the Chargers, but I'm not knowing that he's going to be playing. So I gotta go with the team that is playing really well. And to say that Mahomes is going to have a regression next year, I think it's almost guaranteed. You can't throw for 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, and 12 picks every year. You can't do it. Tom Brady didn't do that. People are going to catch on to you. Andy Reid is innovative, yes, but I think Mahomes is going to regress more towards the. Here's the thing. If you took away 12 touchdown passes for Patrick Mahomes last year, he was still the number 1 fantasy player in fantasy football last year.
It's crazy.
If you took away, I think it was like 1,800 passing yards from him last year, he was still the number 1 fantasy football player last year. I think he's just going to regress down a little bit. Now, that's not saying like he's going to be
your top. We'll talk about it next week.
He's still your top quarterback. But when it comes to this, I think that they're going to struggle with the running game. The running game, I'm not 100% sure on what they have. They have Damian Williams. They have Carlos Hyde, but I'm not 100% sold on that. Their defense, they overhauled it. I just don't know about this team.
The defense was bad last year, and it's going to be worse this year.
I don't know if
it's my problem with the Chiefs.
Here's the thing. As much as I just said how good Patrick Mahomes was, maybe I should get my hand to camera. I think that their defense was so bad that they only could go up.
Yeah,
in the general sense of it. They got rid of some guys. It's a question mark for me. But I think overall talent on the offense, they're going to win games because you have Travis Kelce, you have Sammy Watkins, and you have Tyreek Hill, and you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes in a good offensive line.
Yeah,
I just think that when the running game was taken away, when Kareem Hunt was off that team, although Damian Williams stepped in admirably, they weren't the same team going forward the end of that year. So to me, that's why I have them down. I have it as number 1 there. But you could convince me with the Chargers if Melvin Gordon is there.
And I get it. I understand how good the Chiefs were last year. I mean, they were, if you want to call it, a coin toss away from going to the Super Bowl. And I get that. I think there's a regression there. And I'm just still high on the Chargers.
You're good. And Chargers to me, Melvin Gordon.
To put Oakland above anybody is laughable to me. Oakland is awful.
Well, let me. Chargers, I think, could argue have one of the best rosters in the NFL.
I think we'll both agree, and we'll talk about again.
They were my Super Bowl picks last year.
Mine as well. No, I had them losing to the Saints, but I had them there. I think we're both going to agree that you think that both the Chargers and the Chiefs make the playoffs.
No.
Okay.
Unless Melvin Gordon.
We'll talk about that in a couple weeks.
If Melvin Gordon's there, yes. If he's not, no.
Okay.
Oakland.
Tell me why Oakland's going to be better than Denver, because I can't wait to hear this.
It's just a gut feeling.
Oh, here we go again.
Oakland, I love their playmakers. Derek Carr, he's a really good quarterback. Don't sleep on Derek Carr. Everyone hates him. or David Carr, not Derek. Derek is his brother. Wait, no, whatever. Carr, whatever.
Right.
I'm
you
done.
were right the first time.
Carr is a really good quarterback. Everyone forgets that. He is a really good quarterback. They had Antonio Brown, who I think is going to have. We talked about it. Yeah. He's going to have a big year. I love Josh Jacobs, their running back there. They added Tyrell Williams. Tyrell Williams, excuse me. They added J.J. Nelson. So they added a lot of good playmakers there. Their offensive line's not terrible. I think they're gonna be in some games. I think they're just gonna win more games than the Denver Broncos. I'll tell you why in a minute. I also like that they went out and they changed up their defense. They got rid of Khalil Mack. They brought in a guy named Salim Farrell. Now, I thought they overdrafted him, but I don't think Salim Farrell is going to be a bad player. And I also like the safety, Jonathan Abrams. If those two play well, then I think that they have a good chance of competing and winning more games than people think. I think Denver is going to be the worst team in this division because I don't like Joe Flacco.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
I love their running back room that they have there. I think they have a lot of good but not great running backs. And I think they're going to find themselves down a little bit. Their defense is going to be okay. I mean, their defense is going to keep them in games.
I think they have a very good defense.
I think they're just a little overrated in general. Okay. The Denver Broncos. Everyone's picking them as a dark horse playoff team. I just don't see it.
I don't see that.
I mean, name me their wide receivers.
Emmanuel Sanders.
And they have Courtland Sutton.
And Deshaun Hamilton,
yes,
is that right?
But that's it. I mean, they lost. You in the past, you're sitting there going like, all right, their offense is good because they have Demaryius Thomas and he's really good. Well, you're losing that guy.
Talk about
Sutton.
The fall from grace.
Sutton is good, but he showed that he was very inconsistent. Now, if he gets more consistent and Flacco can throw the ball, the problem is I don't think Flacco is going to throw the ball to his team as much as he's going to throw it to the other team. I think there's a problem there. Flacco has taken a major step back.
Yeah.
I mean, he got beat out last year by a guy that really,
still can't throw the football.
He wasn't a great thrower of the football.
Still isn't.
Like they completely overhauled the offense because he couldn't throw the football.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. If you disagree with me, you already know what to do. Get in those comment sections.
I just think that if you do this and you have to go Denver offense, Denver defense, Oakland offense, Oakland defense. Denver's defense is the best group out of those four groups. Therefore, I think they play better than Oakland.
I think Denver's defense and Oakland's offense might get you. I think Oakland offense is going to score, man. Again, we both like Antonio Brown.
Okay,
I like Josh Jacobs.
If you think
Tyrell Williams is a good deep threat.
If you think that Oakland offense is going to play that well, then how do you not have AB in your top three?
I think top 8 is a guy that's a phenomenal wide receiver.
I understand that.
I also like – here's the problem. I just said it. I really like Josh Jacobs. I had him as my, 20th running back last week?
Something like that.
I had Josh Jacobs in there. I also like Tyrell Williams as a nice deep threat for that team. Not a huge fantasy guy, but a guy that's going to provide some room underneath. And I like J.J. Nelson for being the underneath routes. I like their offense. I think they have Luke Wilson as their tight end there, a guy that was in Seattle for a while. That's not great, but he can block on the run and he can catch out of the backfield. He's not going to be a flashy tight end.
There's somebody else tight end wise I can't think of.
Well, they lost Jared Cook, so there was that, and they might have drafted the guy, but I'm just looking at that overall. So that's what I think about Oakland. I could be completely wrong, and I probably am. I don't really care about that. I just think that Oakland, I think, will be a better team than Denver this year. Everyone's just really low on Oakland because Gruden doesn't look this, and Antonio Brown's having all this problem. I just think they're going to be a better team. So
fair enough.
Give me your AFC West. Don't try to prove me wrong on their tight ends.
I'm not trying to prove you wrong. I'm trying to figure out what I can't think of here. NFC West, I think I'm also going to be opposite of you in the top 2 as well. I have Seattle at 1, Los Angeles at 2, Arizona at 3, San Fran at 4.
I have the Rams, Seahawks, 49ers, and Arizona. So I think we flipped each one. We flipped the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Waller.
Who?
Darren Waller.
Okay. The Rams, to me, the best team in the division. They're defending NFC champs. Goff needs to step up. I think the addition of Cooper Kupp, bring back after the injury.
Goff had a really good year last year. I think he actually takes a step back.
In the bigger games, he kind of – I mean, obviously the Super Bowl, no one offensively played well in the Super Bowl. But in the bigger games, he just didn't have the same – when Cooper Kupp went down last year, Jared Goff was before he went down, Jared Goff was a top 6 quarterback play. After Cooper Kupp, he was a top 15. Like, he wasn't the best fantasy quarterback. I know this isn't just fantasy talk here. I think that they need to it's going to be different because Todd Gurley not knowing what he's at right now, although I still believe he's going to be a phenomenal running back this year.
Yeah, I agree.
He's going to take some plays off. So this team might struggle. I don't think they're going to win. I think this division is like 9-7, 10-6, top division winner.
I agree with
and then you have a team like my second place pick, the Seahawks, at 8-8, 9-7, 10-6, fighting for that. And then you have the jokes of the division. Yeah. And I will soundly go off on the 49ers because I am going to be – I think you're on the same page with me. You have 40 – actually, you have them worse than I do.
I do.
And we'll get into that in a second. Seattle, to me, is an intriguing team.
I agree. And I think you can probably say that every single year since their dominant years.
Yeah.
Since they had that dominant team, as long as you have Russell Wilson on your team, you have a chance to compete.
Well, I think it's the way that they've gone about pre-superstars. I mean, pre-Doug Baldwin, like what they've done before. Like they used to have like Doug Baldwin. They had phenomenal pass catchers there. Yeah, they don't have that. They have Tyler Lockett there, but they went from being a team that would throw the ball consistently a lot too much to a team that ran the ball 52% of the time last year. They're going to run the ball. Russell Wilson is going to give you that little play action fake. He's going to boot out, and he's going to hit Tyler Lockett on a deep route, or he's going to hit someone underneath, whoever they have that comes in there to play the underneath routes. I think their offensive line is pretty good. I like Chris Carson. I like Rashad Penny. I think that they're going to have a phenomenal running attack there.
I agree.
I think this is going to be a team that's going to compete for the division title. I think this is going to be a team that will make the playoffs, in my humble opinion, in the NFC. But the NFC has a lot of good teams in that, like, that can finish in that 10-6 to like 8-8 record.
So I think that, again, I think Los Angeles takes a step back, and I agree with you roughly in that record range. But I see Seattle taking one game above and going that 10-6.
Okay.
The thing that'll stop Seattle, they always have a strong defense. I mean, you just can't avoid
Probably one of the better players.
And it's going to come down to their receivers. I mean, this is what they have outside of Tyler Lockett. DK Metcalf.
He's the guy you don't know about.
David Moore.
Another guy you don't know much about.
Jerron Brown and Gary Jennings Jr.
We know a lot about Jerron Brown.
Not a very deep receiving court.
No.
If Tyler Lockett can play even 3/4 of not last year's Doug Baldwin, but good Doug Baldwin. It's all going to come down to the receivers on this team for me. I think that receiver play will be the difference, and I understand they're a running team, but we know what Chris Carson can do.
Absolutely. But I think what will happen a lot of the times is that when you're running these play action fakes and you run the ball 6-8 plays in a row, and you hit this play action fake, and you hit a guy like Tyler Lockett that beats a guy deep, or DK Metcalf that can beat guys deep. I think that's when you start seeing the receiver play well. Can they win those 60-40 balls that Russell Wilson likes to jack up when they have it, when they've got that play action going on? I really like this team. I think this is a team that's going to compete. So I'm going to move on to the 49ers, and you have them fourth. I have them third. To me, Arizona and 49ers, they could be flip-flopping here. 49ers, I'm not the biggest fan of Jimmy G. He started 10 games, and everyone's christening him as Jimmy Jesus. Jesus. He had that run where he didn't lose a game forever, whatever. I don't care. He is consistently getting hurt. He's only started 10 games. I'm not the biggest fan of their skill positions. I mean, Tevin Coleman's a nice bring in there. McKinnon, will he be anything after his injury? Because they still have McKinnon there, right, after the ACL. I don't even – if you ask me right now, and I did a little research and I still don't know who their wide receiver play is, I couldn't really tell you.
Dante Pettis and Marcus Goodwin.
Again, I couldn't really tell you. Dante Pettis, he's been hurt all camp.
I didn't know that.
He's not taking, and reports coming out. I actually read this 3 days ago, so probably should have known that, but my brain's a little scrambled. He hasn't taken that next step that the 49ers want him to take. I think their defense is going to be much improved. You add guys like D Ford and Kwan Williams, and then you draft Nick Bosa to go along with the guys you already had in place. Their defense should be good. I just think offensively they're going to be bad, in my personal opinion. This is why I hate doing podcasts while we record this, because this can come back and bite me in the butt. Jimmy Jesus can come out and be that guy, and next thing you know, they're competing. But they're talking,
but I agree.
There's people talking about playoffs for this team.
No, they're lucky to win 6 games.
I say the ceiling on this team is 8-8. That's the
NFC is way too deep.
His division's too good. Because Arizona is not going to be a pushover this year. They should be fun to watch. That's what I put. This is my season prediction on the Arizona Cardinals.
It's like
should be fun to watch. That's what, because I don't know anything about it because their preseason game, Kyler Murray, they didn't do anything. They're not showing anything. Their skill positions, you're like, well, what do they have there? David Johnson, what is he going to be in this offense?
Yeah.
Is their defense going to be as bad as they were last? There's a lot of questions with Arizona, but heck, they will be so much fun to watch. That late window game, those 4:25 games, I'll be watching. I'll be watching on Red Zone because gotta watch those touchdowns, man. Fantasy football, NFL Red Zone. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so to me, that's what I have this NFC West as. I mean, we kind of flip flopped them. I don't mind your Seattle and Los Angeles picks here for the AFC and NFC West,
and I don't even care enough about Arizona and San Francisco to talk any more than you've already talked. Like, I agree with you. I mean, I just think Arizona. I just think San Francisco is going to be bad. You're higher on their defense than I am, but you know a little bit more about individual guys.
They got Solomon Thomas that they drafted as a high pick last year that played well-ish. Yeah. You bring in Nick Bosa, who's a guy maybe he can stay healthy, and then you guys, Kwan Alexander for Tampa Bay was a really good linebacker. Problem is that he was a really good linebacker on a defense that gave up a ton of points, so you don't know what he's getting. And then again, D Ford, another really good defensive player on a team, on Kansas City, that gave up a ton of points. So are they really as good as they are, or are they just selfish individuals that get stats in a defense in a bad defense? So that's all I have.
Hands up. All right. So there's our wide receivers and for fantasy and our NFC AFC West preview. Next week we break down the South. NFC, NFC South. We are clearly leaving the North for our last week. We'll probably talk about that a little bit more with that being our division. Yes, you will see we got a terrible towel here. Got the Browns flag.
The sad part about
where it's coming.
No, the sad part about this terrible towel is I'm the one that had to put it out like that. Like I put it out like that because I want my friend to be represented. But
thank you.
But it's I gotta get the right side. It's Cleveland all day. But guys, thank you so much for.
Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Quarterbacks.
You talk. Yeah, quarterbacks.
And then we'll be doing quarterbacks next week.
And then the last week we'll do tight ends, and then we can throw defense. Kind of just do a quick one for those,
so that we can get that in, and then talk about the AFC North.
Get it out. Yeah, the AFC North, like how we've done a lot of fantasy early here. That will be the AFC North, NFC North preview 2 weeks from now.
And we're going to want to maybe next week we'll talk a little bit, but we want to start incorporating college in a little bit.
Yes.
Let us know what you want us to talk about. We're obviously Big Ten guys. Not really going to do many conference breakdowns.
No.
But let us know what you want us to talk about when it comes to college.
What we'll probably do is we can give you maybe a top 10 that we have right now, and then maybe incorporate a college football playoff that we would have if it was today. So we can do all that. But guys, thank you so much for listening, watching, however you are ingesting our knowledge. We really do appreciate that. Again, head over to our Facebook page, which you're watching live right now. Get over there. If you don't like it, which is absolutely you should, just go and like it. If you want to go over to our Twitter page, get over there and hit us up with maybe some retweets, some likes, some follows, all that kind of stuff.
We love them.
Ask us questions. Get over there and do that. I don't know why I keep doing this stuff. And then again, get over to iTunes, get over to the Spotify channel, get over to Anchor because they're still sponsoring our podcast. So I don't know how.
Great.
But yeah, get over there, do that. Again, if you don't want to listen to us live, get us on those, man. We'd love to get.
Or you can hit me up on my page.
Hit me up on my page.
There you go.
But guys, thank you so much for listening. We're not going to try to have this awkward ending, but we always will. But hey, you guys have a great rest of your evening and go Browns.
Hey.
You can still say go Steelers because this is going to take forever. It's so weird.